Nothing's more badass on your tombstone than using your retirement as a war vet to murder some werewolves.
Here we go! This night, you're gonna find that nightmares do come true. We will find you. Trick or treat. This night, you're gonna find that people.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror, Year 3. This is day 28. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. Last werewolf film I had to see. Late Phases, also known as Night of the Lone Wolf. I'm getting a lot of these titles that have two names in them. When the moon is full, the hunt is on. And this film has been compared to Gran Torino meets Silver Bullet. I didn't see that. We'll get a little bit more into how I felt about the film and what the synopsis is like, basically. So you've got this this war vet. It starts off right from the first scene. He's looking to buy a tombstone, which you don't really know if it's for himself or somebody else, but he's a blind war vet, and he's with his son, and he is just about to move into a retirement community, and basically this guy is completely rough around the edges. You can tell that he's been through war. There's a bunch of scenes that he's in, and he goes through involving discussions with people where he's very obviously forward and how can I explain it? He's very blunt, and he's very direct. Like he's direct in the way he speaks and what he says, but he's not necessarily too mean, which is kind of funny because you would think that this guy is just a pure asshole, and he is, but he's not really mean to people. He understands how to be compassionate in his own way. And the biggest thing with him is he's just direct and doesn't take any shit. And he basically just speaks to everybody the way it is, and, bites the bullet and doesn't kid around with his way of life. And the actor who portrays him is phenomenal. I mean, he's the best performance of the film by far compared to everybody else in it. His son is played by Ethan Embry, who is in a film that I really liked called, another discovery for me a few years ago, called The Devil's Candy. And I didn't even recognize him in this film because he's such a chameleon with the way he makes his characters. I mean, they all look so different. Every time he's in a film, you can't even tell it's him. But I recognize the name right away, and I'm like, oh, it's that guy. So when we get to this retirement home, and the father, Ambrose is his name, begins to live there, there's right away some attacks by a werewolf. And then apparently this film plays off as like the attacks are normal because this retirement community is basically right beside a forest, and there's some animalistic attacks that are common in this place, which is kind of ridiculous and in a sense a black comedy in the way the film plays out. But it plays it out in a quirky kind of sarcastic way. And like I said, the attacks start right at the beginning, basically, or the first act anyway, with the main character, the father, Ambrose. Something about the way he acts suggests that he knows exactly what's going on, and it plays out in that way, because he starts to prepare, and he starts to ask around for silver bullets, and he just plays off as if he has history with werewolves. And this film, I think a lot of people might have issues with it because it is vague in a lot of things that it brings up. There's a bunch of plot points that some of them lightly wrap up, some of them leave you with questions more than answers, and a lot of people hate that. I thought it was neat for a film like this, and I kind of like that structure if it's done well, which is it's done extremely well in this one. and it was a lot of fun, man. The werewolves look really good. Their transformations are cool because most of them are practical. Um, Most of them actually look like they're actually ripping their skin off, and then basically underneath is their werewolf flesh and everything like that. So it looks like a human kind of ripping what looks like real skin off to transform into a werewolf. It's pretty sweet. The kills are really well done. Gore is great. There's this slow-mo kill involving a car where this werewolf is slowly pouncing into the car, and it's kind of it like it's going through the rear window, and it looks like the werewolf looks cool in it because of like the way the aesthetics are done and the fur and the teeth, and it's just shot really well. I think this film did a really good job with its cinematography and paid a lot of attention to it. So I really enjoyed that. It's definitely a werewolf film to check out. Like amongst the bunch of werewolf films you find that are crap, like the one I watched 2 days ago, finding a good werewolf film is pretty all over the place. But this one has a lower budget. You can tell it's more of an independent film. It looks like kind of a cult film, something that would be going around a lot of festivals. It came out in 2014, and it was directed by, the writing is so small, Adrian, Garcia, Bogliano? Can barely read that. But yeah, Late Phases and Night of the Lone Wolf. Even though the wolves aren't lone. Spoiler alert. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. The performances are great. Perfect, midnight horror indie movie, and it's a lot of fun. So that's all I got to say about that for now. We're almost wrapping this up, like I said. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you have not already, and I will be back with my few and final reviews real soon. So cheers and take care, guys.